Значит так,
Alright.
поисковая операция начинается. Далеко не разбредаемся, ищем любые следы Кати или похитителя. И желательно, пацаны, поживее! Уже через час станет темно, хоть глаз выколи.
We started carefully wading through fallen trees, in vain hope of finding at least something.
Хрена лысого мы в таких потемках
Find
найдем.
shit in this dark, eh?
Давайте у золота по домам.
Let's go home.
Опачки. Чё
Hey,
тут у
what do we
нас?
have here?
А мне сегодня фартит.
Today's my lucky day.
Братва! Я
Guys, I found
катаюсь на
something.
стол! Это ж Каткин кошелек!
It's Katya's purse.
And then I heard a stifled scream. I had no idea who produced it. Was it Biasha, Romka, or me?
What? How do you not know if it's yourself? And Romka's right
Then
behind
I finally saw it with my own eyes, but I still couldn't believe them. Biasha, his hair completely white, stumbled away in horror, before eventually plopping into a snow pile. I looked at his outstretched hand that pointed at the void. His fingers shook like crazy. Biasha jumped up as if something bit him and fled. Romka didn't even glance his way. He kept staring in front of himself. Without blinking. Without breathing. I didn't even notice how my legs started carrying me towards something indescribably horrific. With an indecisive motion, I pulled away the veil of fluffy evergreen. A small clearing that was once burnt out with a precise lightning strike showed itself from behind the spruces. A circle of blackened tree stumps. And inside it, the black garage, its smooth walls painted black. It seemed like they absorbed darkness itself. It felt like the garage wasn't just a metal box that could be easily moved from one place to another, it was alive.
Yeesh. Yeah, and the light's flickering too.
An insect, with a black, glossy carapace. A gluttonous carrion. We kept staring at it, while it watched us carefully with its single red blinking eye. I tried to persuade myself that it was just a light bulb. The low hum produced by an electric generator sounded menacing.
Hello?
Открыто.
I tried
Oh
swallowing.
shit!
My mouth was dry as a desert. The garage's doors were open. Darkness swirled inside it. I felt someone's touch. Romka put his palm on my shoulder.
Пойдем.
Are we going?
He looked far older than his real age. Actually, he looked like a decrepit old man.
Куда? Ты что,
Are
сбрендил?
you insane?
Давай предупредим лейтенанта
Let's
Тихонова.
go warn LT.
Romka spat at his feet.
Не будь ты таким наивным,
Don't be
Тох.
silly,
Твой
Tasha.
Тихонов вон даже варежку в лесу
Your
отыскать не смог.
Tikhonova couldn't even find a mitten in the forest, yeah?
Да и западло с ментом
And
сотрудничать.
helping the cops is for
Когда я у него на
calling the
учете
co-
состою.
And helping the cops is for pussies, especially now when I'm on their juvenile criminal list. Oh
The
my god, I
delinquent
can't
brandished
English!
his trademark knife and looked at me.
Маньяк наверняка вернулся
The serial
туда,
killer
в
has
свое
possibly
логово.
returned to his lair.
Если получится, возьмем его тепленьким,
We
пока
might
он не
catch him
ждет.
off guard and capture
Иначе
him.
в следующий
Or
раз
next time he'll
подкараулит
be
уже он.
the one ambushing us.
The animal kid said he was just a man from the village. But can we beat him by ourselves?
Второго
Probably.
шанса может не быть, брат.
There may not be a second chance,
Так
bro.
что решайся.
Time to decide. Oh god, another one?
Save 3. Save slot 4. Save 3.
Another? Are you kidding me? Oh my god! There's too much! Okay.
To police station.
Well, we ain't pussies here.
To garage.
So we're gonna go to the garage, because we ain't pussies.
We got closer to the building. The metal box was completely silent. Romka knocked on the gate with his knuckles, as if to make sure it's not going to turn into a predatory maw. With newfound confidence, he opened the gate wider, and started feeling around the wall, looking for the light switch.
Тоха, помоги-ка мне.
Tosha, give me a hand here.
Turn on. It turned out to be an ordinary garage on the inside. Tool shelves on both sides, canisters, rags, and a covered car. No serial killers. No murder victims. I even chuckled in relief. Similar emotions could be read from my companion's face. Romka entered the garage and went clockwise around the car. He rummaged through the dusty shelves, then looked at me. I got brave enough to set one foot inside the garage. Darkness was plastered all over its corners like a spider web. But if there ever was a spider here, it left its nest a long time ago. The surrounding dim light couldn't reach there. Anything could be hidden in the dark. What if someone is watching me from there, hiding behind silvery webs? Let me stand on my tiptoes. No, nothing but dust and old junk. What did it grip? What crunched under the pressure of its metal maws? What poured down on the workbench from the ripping flesh? Its cast iron parts crumbled from continued use. But it was just a normal metal work vise. We had one just like this in our shop classroom. A vise for metal parts, not for victims. Drops of oil, not blood.
Well, that's good.
Talk. Why does this look so much like an altar? As in, the garage is a church, and these here are the attributes of an inhuman tiger religion. I don't want to look at the icons of that beastly faith. Ancient scriptures and iron relics. No, it's just a pile of junk. Nobody is worshipped here. Shrines like these don't exist. And there's some wax on the tabletop because they often have blackouts and the owner works in candlelight. Severed limbs, mounds of ground meat, and heads, plastered with meat flies. I'll see all of that inside this box. Just like in a nightmare, a scary version of the Field of Wonders where the host pulls out pus oozing prizes out of a black box. In reality, the box was empty. Even if there was something inside, it was probably taken
out at some point. Okay.
Rusty tools that look like steel fangs inside the jaws of this icy place, or like torture tools of a medieval executioner. The moment you touch these, a wound will bloom on your finger, and the resulting cut will get infected from the rust and the dried fat, and you'll rot away alive. There's also something scarlet on those pincers. I need to go and check. Paint. It's just paint.
Paint. It's just paint.
It's a car.
Yeah.
What else can it be? Just a car covered with a tarp. There was nobody inside it. No dead, no living. The stench of dried up blood. It's all in my head. The thing under the cover smells like machine oil, nothing more. Talk.
Ржавый хлам.
Nothing but rusty junk.
Оказывается, это место капец какое унылое. Какому такому мудаку пришла в голову идея перевозить гараж с места на место? Пошли отсюда.
We're leaving.
Давай догоним Бяшу.
Let's catch up with Boyashaya. He's got it really bad.
I went out into the snowfall. Romka was also stomping toward the exit when he suddenly stopped and stared at the car.
Слушай, а что это мы с пустыми руками будем возвращаться? Дай-ка я хоть магнитолу скручу. Обожди минуту, я мигом.
I'll be back in a jiffy.
Somebody sniffled from under the cover. I almost plopped into a snow pile from surprise.
Ты слышал?
Did you hear that? It's her.
I watched my friend tugging at the cloth, but I couldn't muster the strength to rush to his aid. My legs froze into the round. Still, Romka managed even without me. The cover he slashed with his knife flew to the side. There was no car underneath it. Instead, as if growing out of the floor, there stood a huge meat grinder, sparkling with its well-oiled parts. I saw one just like this in under 16 and beyond. An industrial giant that factories used to grind cow carcasses when making sausage. Inside its bowl, which reminded me of the bloodthirsty maws of a Venus flytrap, sat a tied-up Katya. She looked like she just snapped out of a daydream, and her eyes rounded in horror. The gag in Katya's mouth prevented her from doing anything but moaning and sniffling.
Скорее сюда!
Get over
I
here!
threw off my stupor like a heavy tarp and
Oh my
rushed
God, I can see the
inside
top
the
of her head.
garage. In the meantime, Romka almost managed to climb the steel death machine. He grabbed Katya under her shoulders and, he must have pressed some sort of button with his knee. The mechanism started rumbling like an empty stomach. Romka realized what he had done, so he screamed.
Черт, выключи
Fuck,
ее!
turn it off, turn it
Я
off!
сейчас, держись!
It's
Okay,
no
hang on
use.
there.
Not a single damn button or a switch helped in stopping those horrible screeching wheels.
Не работает!
It's not working, I can't do shit! Get your ass over here then!
We bent toward Katya and tried to pull her out by the elbow. The spirals on the bottom
Why
got
are
to
they
work.
so funny now?
Then came the crunching
It's not
sound.
fucking working! Get your
Like
ass
that of
over
a
here!
flame eating away at firewood.
Rescue? Of course rescue! What else would I do? There's nothing else to do! Oh my god, rescue, 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 rescue! Oh my god, I gotta click it! Oh my god! Click it harder! Holy shit! She's bleeding! Oh my god!
They looked like a pair of tattered stockings now. Her bones pierced the
Her
skin and
pussy's
poked out like
bleeding!
pointy twigs. A white kneecap floated around in the crimson syrup. I was trying to pull Katya out, but I could tell I was losing. Rescue.
Oh my god! I'm still clicking! Holy shit! Oh my god! No!
The blades crushed her pelvis. The bloody gravy bubbled up. Katya kept wailing, holding the same maddening note. Her eyes, bloodshot from all the burst blood vessels, popped out of their sockets. The blades reached her stomach. They scooped up the Glaucous tubes of intestine, just like Olga wrapped spaghetti around her fork. The stench of entrails spread through the garage. I stopped trying to help Katya. She was clearly too far gone already. The girl's head dangled helplessly. Her murky eyes stared into space. The meat grinder chewed through Katya's ribcage and devoured her barely formed breasts. Her face darkened due to rising blood pressure. Scarlet screams ran from her eyes and ears. Katya was dead, but the machine had no intention of stopping. Hair got tangled in the blades and a scalp got separated from Katya's skull with a loud smacking sound. The skin on her face slid down. The death grimace made me stagger away. I felt a pair of hands on my body and I thought that I was also about to get thrown into the bowl as a dessert. I was about to become a part of the same mincemeat mass as Katya, but it was Romka dragging me away. From the mechanism's metal trunk, a thick blood-filled sausage with hair and bones mixed in plopped into the tray.
Какого хрена ты стоял как
What the
вкопанный?
fuck did you just stand? Why did you just
Мы же
fucking
могли
stand?
успеть ее спасти!
We could have saved her. I did. I was pushing the button.
Не думаю,
And I
что
had
ты
no
её так
idea you
сильно
hated her
ненавидишь.
that much. I was
Убираться
slamming that
отсюда.
button. We need to get you out of here.
We stumbled out of the garage. I grabbed a handful of snow and shoved it in my mouth. Then chewed on the mushy substance. Roma was on his knees, wiping his face with snow. I crawled away from the monstrous meat grinder, clinging to the ice with my nails. I coughed as if trying to expectorate the memory of what I saw. But I knew that I'd never forget the smell, the sound of breaking bones, and Katya's agony. Roma crawled up to me on all fours and, for a moment, I felt like he lost his sanity from horror, and now he was going to tear into my throat, like a wild beast. Instead, he grabbed my coat and started scrubbing scarlet drops from my sleeve with snow.
Что ты делаешь?
What are you doing?
Никто не должен узнать.
Can't let anybody know.
О чем ты?
What do you
Никакой милиции, слышишь?
mean? No going to the police. You got it?
Катю по частям мы не соберем.
We're clearly not gulag heading back together.
А я не хочу сесть в
And I
тюрьму, как
don't
мой
want to end
батя.
up in jail like my old man.
Но ты говорил...
But you
Говорил.
said... Right, I did.
He threw a hateful glare at the garage.
Я включил
I
мясорубку.
turned on the meat grinder.
Нечаянно.
By accident.
Попробуй докажи.
Try to prove that.
Им только и надо, чтобы на кого-то повесить убийство.
They just need a scapegoat for all these killings.
Я за решетку пойду, а
I'll be
маньяк
behind
будет разгуливать на
bars,
свободе.
and the serial killer will walk free.
Блядь!
Fuck,
Жизнь
and
ведь
my
только
life was just
начала
starting to get
налаживаться.
better.
Но мы не можем просто так.
But we can't just...
Можем. Поклянись, что никому не
Swear you
скажешь.
won't tell anyone.
He didn't say the or else part out loud, but his tone of voice clearly had that implication. I stayed silent for a minute. I spent it thinking about the bloody gravy that was flowing out of the machine. Roma was right. Even if Tikhanov believes us, the garage might be gone by that time. It will just magically teleport to some other clearing on the other side of this damn forest.
Пожалуйста!
Please.
Кто-то должен защищать
Someone has to
Полину!
protect Polina.
Olya, too, I thought while nodding slowly.
Хорошо.
I was afraid I wouldn't be able to keep my word. That mom will read it off my face, that she will notice the blood drops, or sense the smell. And I'll crack, I'll just fall on the floor before her and start wailing, scared for myself and my family. At that moment, I had no idea what was actually waiting for me in the place I mistakenly called home. The front door was open and swayed slightly in the wind. It felt like my skin was getting covered in rime. I clenched my fists. Darkness oozed into the hallway, and snowflakes floated inside along with it, landing softly on the rug. Like a pack of vultures that sensed their food. I imagined 3 meat grinders in different parts of the house and 3 members of my family getting ground by their blades. I stepped into the doorway with the utmost caution. For a moment, I thought I heard someone talking in the kitchen, but it turned out to be a radio broadcast. Radio, the previously mentioned cyclone is getting even close to the region. The official forecast for tomorrow suggests gusts of wind reaching up. Radio, Emercom of Russia has called on citizens to exercise extreme caution. I heard voices coming from the upper floor. For the first time in my life, sounds of a quarrel calmed me down. The staircase let out a long squeak. I took 1 step, yet my heart managed to beat 6 or 7 times in the meantime. The door to my parents' bedroom was ajar. A shadow play unfolded inside a light spot. Black silhouettes were performing a dance of hatred. Mom hissed at Dad, her wrists flying toward the ceiling, and he towered over her, his hands crossed on his huge chest.
Мы все в опасности. И все из-за тебя.
We're all in danger. Okay, and we've seen this.
Yet instead,
It's Polina.
Что с тобой?
she flashed me an embarrassed smile.
Дедушка мой, он снова...
Interesting.
I stared
So
looking
even
around.
at the end with this being different, she still comes over and hugs me after her grandfather is able to walk again. That's very interesting. That's very interesting.
She waved her hand and smiled.
Кто старое помянет?
On the past
Вот
now,
бы еще
blah blah
не
blah.
I
blah.
looked
Пойдем скорее, а то
with I
Okay,
tried,
and then they go to
but it was,
school.
and I sat.
And
away
she
from-
still sits
I
next
licked
to
the pen
me.
lead.
Спок?
Do I still draw her? I still draw her!
It was the first time.
Ну, вот так, да, хорошо.
Choked
She still takes her fucking
My
thing
pencil.
off.
the lead. I would.
Эй!
Hunt.
This still happens. This still happens. This all still happens. This all still happens.
Thank you for completing EP4. We are
Okay.
deeply grateful for everyone who
Thank you so much. So it ends the same way. Why are you moaning still? Shh.
Load 3, June 14, 140. June 14.
Can you stop moaning in my ear?
Self-voicing
Okay, you
disabled.
shush. Stop moaning in my ear, please! Okay, the last thing I'm gonna do in this episode is I want to see what would happen if I refuse. That's the only other thing I want to know. I gripped Olya's...
Self-voicing enabled. I gripped Olya's wrist so hard that she squeaked, either from pain or from surprise.
Не ешь.
Cautious whispers spread through the room.
Excuse me?
Ears twitched on the masks. Shadows slid from one place to another.
What's wrong? Did something happen? No, it's fine.
Просто Тоша верит в
It's just Tosha
несуществующий
believes
диабет.
in non-existing diabetes.
Расказни родителей.
Parents lie. Wake me up when he stops fooling around.
Перестанет валять.
Grandpa Frost leaned into me. He smelled of caramel and just a
Oh,
tiny bit of
gosh.
dampness.
Let's not spoil this wonderful occasion, my friends. Everyone should be having a fun today. Eat and dance.
Olya tried to pull her hand away, but I kept it in my clutches. I looked at the sweets, then at the tall old man, and tried to focus on a barely discernible stench coming from him, the stench of rot and decay, masked with a sugary aroma. The foul smell of a beast. It felt like I was finally able to shrug off some strong delusion. Fear, exhaustion, and coldness returned to me.
Спасибо, но мы сыты.
Thank you, but we're not hungry.
И мы пойдем, наверное.
And, I think we'll be going. Mom and Dad are probably worried sick already.
I dragged my sister toward the exit, but Elisa stood in our path. She had a china platter in her hands. For a brief moment, I imagined maggots crawling inside it, but as soon as my eyes darted toward the offering, I saw gummy worms instead of a vomit-inducing writhing ball of living ones.
Anton, please, we're friends, right? We're more than friends. Remember my promise? Nobody will hurt you as long as I'm here. Neither you nor Oyla. So please, eat at least one. Pretty please. Let me go, Anton, let me go. Oh shit, my memory card's full. You're just like Mom, now forbidding me from doing anything.
Olya convulsed hysterically, trying to free herself from my clutches.
Это неправильно.
This is so wrong.
Все здесь какое-то неправильное.
Everything is wrong about this place. Is that so? Have you considered that maybe the only thing that is wrong here is your perception? Ever thought that those pills that you gulp down every day do to you, huh? They twist reality, they tangle your thoughts, they lead you away from the snowy trail.
I looked at Elisa with suspicion, searching for a comeback, but I couldn't find one. I remembered Vova's bloody mitten and Semyon's severed finger inside a small plastic bag. All of that was just an illusion.
Who are you?
And
who do we look like to you?
Like nightmares that ravage my sick mind.
With us, nobody will ever punish you. Nobody will lock you up in your room or abandon you. From this moment on, nobody will be able to force something you don't want upon you. How do you know what we don't want?
The old man rubbed Wolfie, who was munching loudly, behind the ear.
Oh, I do know. Winds and shadows whisper to me as do cold stars in endless skies. They tell me that children don't want to grow up. They don't want to turn into those who live by the taboos, threats, and punishments.
His voice grew louder and louder with every word.
Those who live wanting to grow old and die. The children live by their dreams. Oh, I know full well how children dream of a happy and carefree life. The life of wild freedom and miracles.
His voice rang like thunder. It made all hair on my head stand on end.
All this will be yours. You only need but a wish. You only need but ask.
And then he whispered,
You only need but accept.
Согласиться.
Don't, I wouldn't do that.
Olya repeated after him like an echo, as if enchanted.
Yes, my dear friend. Partake on the feast.
The old man pointed toward the fox girl.
Please, I beg for you, for all of us, for me, for your sister. Please, Bunny, take a single bite. You will understand everything.
Except.
Interesting. Hold on.
Save. Save.
I can refuse and accept again. So if I accept it here, I finally get color. And if I refuse, I'm gonna refuse it. Oh!
I felt like chilling winds blew from the cavities of her eyes, from the dark holes of other beasts, and the towering old man's, too. The owl's face twitched nervously.
I bet it
The
did.
wolf's maw dripped with saliva.
Oh god.
The bear shuffled his feet, any trace of sleepiness gone from his face. And from behind us towered the one who pretended to be Grandpa Frost all this time.
I said we're leaving. Dr. Jekyll? Is that?
I gripped my sister's hand even tighter. Candy slipped out of her fingers and smacked against the floor. Olya started looking around, frightened.
Yeah, you should be. I said we're leaving.
Elisa parried me and, despite everything, I felt immense anger.
Why don't you have to be... Why do you have to be such a dunce?
I heard the flute's melody, but now it reminded me of a cracking whip or even agonized convulsions of a fish that was thrown out to the ice. Music dangled about, striking at my ears, and then the crystal castle was filled with cries of children that slowly turned into beastly howls, intermingled with the sounds of crunching bones and ripping skin. The china platter, filled to the brim with maggots, smashed into tiny pieces. Elisa's orange fur coat ripped at the seams, letting out a cloud of foul-smelling fog. Her twisted face bared its teeth and the stench attacked my nostrils again. The fox screamed, blood streaming down her cheeks like tears, making her fur sticky. Her bone-naked tail whipped against the walls with its vertebrae. I shielded my crying sister. Horror drilled into my stomach, rushed through my guts, and rose up to my throat. I felt the urge to tear off my glasses and lose sight. I wanted to squeeze my eyes out and go blind forever. I turned to face the owl and my face contorted from disgust. Worms wriggled inside her mask's feathers. Her rotten beak snapped like garden scissors. I staggered back and barely avoided bumping into the wolf. His face was stretching out, his bones crunched. Teeth poked out of his festering gums like shards of broken glass, and his swollen tongue kept on tirelessly licking them. At the edge of my vision, I saw the bear block our passage.
Ew.
Every inch of his body oozed scarlet ichor. Larvae clogged his teary eyes. I pulled the shocked Olya close, looking for the exit in a panic. My foot ended up in a pile of sweets, but those were no longer candy. Human remains blanketed the floor.
Oh god.
Ribs with shreds of meat on them and torn out jaws, a tooth necklace and moss-covered pelvic bones. Tiny skulls and scalps, swimming in a sea of blood.
Ooh! What kind of gif is this?
The horned monstrosity towered over me, clutching a bone flute in its long clawed fingers.
What was that?
A giant goat that shed his kind old man form, completely black, emanating hatred and malice. He scorched me with red-hot holes inside his eye cavities. His horns scraped against the ceiling.
Oh my god! It's Big Boy!
Ice cracked and thawed, dripping down,
everything just turned,
forming muddy pools of water, bearing metal walls that were hidden underneath it. I realized that we were doomed inside this cramped womb of a dungeon, surrounded by howling beasts.
Yeah, you are.
All I could do was hug my sister even tighter and watch how the circle around us shrank. How ugly paws reached out to us from behind the veil of a bloody fog.
Let me grip them shreds, master! I'll tear their eyeballs to screw their oozing wounds.
The growling wolf's maw snapped like a bear trap, splattering thick white foam toward us. But he was immediately pushed away by a rotting bear carcass.
No way, it's my turn to have fun. I've got so tired of listening to their fucking drive. Oh, I'll rip the skin off this little brat while she's still alive, right in front of her brother. I'll make him eat his own sister. I'll fill his belly full of her guts. Ew. Please, master.
It felt like his face was about to tear apart, crack like an eggshell, letting out something even more sinister, nasty, Scary. Gnarly owl claws grabbed at the grinning bear, stopping him from getting close.
She's mine! Mine, you scumbags! Get your paws off the girl!
The cackling zoo formed a purple that started rolling in guts and gnawed fat. They howled, fought with each other, tore out scraps of fur and feathers, ready to rip each other apart like a pack of hungry dogs fighting for leftovers. A sudden squeal of the flute pulled them apart as if someone tugged at their leashes. The master of this pack charmed the monsters with his soul-rending music, turning them into unmoving, silent marionettes that faithfully awaited his commands. The goat stopped nibbling on his shin bone flute, its devilish melody that sounded like a chorus of children being run over by a steamroller, went silent for one last time. A chunk of raw human flesh plopped beside my shaking feet. Consumed by fear, I turned toward Olya. She lay by the wayside, covered in pink snow. Just like the Sleeping Beauty in that cartoon, she probably lost consciousness from this soul-rending spectacle. I wanted to wail, to go mad, to die quickly and painlessly, right there and now. But alas, I couldn't. I was still inside this torture chamber, choosing between a gruesome end inside the monster's stomachs and cannibalism. Woolen meat grinders kept on staring at me with their greedy, infinitely hungry eyes, ready to gnaw at my bones before eventually eating them, if I dared refuse their master's offer. But if I was to agree, I'm sure I would lose my free will, just like them. I'll turn into a perpetually hungry monster that dances to the tune of a bloodthirsty madman, and I'll surely lead Olya and all those who I hold dear to their deaths. My lips trembled, a feeling of nausea turned my stomach inside out, but somehow I found the strength to scream.
No way, never! I'm a human!
Those words could be later used as my epitaph, but I knew that my remains were destined to never be found. My surroundings went dead silent.
Eat them! Bleed them! Tear them apart!
The horned shadow consumed us. Elisa rushed to the goat and stood between us, ridiculously tiny compared to the giant monster. Her tail dragged after her, leaving behind a scarlet trail. Fleas jumped around her back and the bones sticking out of it.
Wait, don't need to be so hasty. We still have use for the bunny. He will bring us tasty treats. She still likes me. For the fox and for the bear. Bunny tasty meals prepare.
Flames inside his eye sockets stopped trembling. Still dolls bared their teeth in anger.
Tear apart and swallow up. Gut filled in the bag. Shut up, buffoons! Can't you feel it? Have you forgotten? The moment when he almost took a bite out of the moon at the snowy clearing?
The cannibals went silent, swallowing saliva in disappointment.
They're fighting
Elisa,
with each other.
In the meantime, took a sharp turn and returned to the form of a cute child with a fox mask on that I met for the first time one January morning. She glided toward me, dissolving the horrors around us with the smell of tangerines, firecrackers, and magic. Her soft paws touched my cheeks, removed a sticky strand of hair from my forehead. Elisa embraced me and whispered in a sweet voice.
Do you want me to save? Do you want to save yourself, Dosha?
I stayed silent, gritting my teeth. I was afraid to look away, afraid that this fleeting illusion could get shattered.
Tell me, sweetie, do you want to save your sister?
Tears sprayed from my eyes as I wept.
Yes.
I continued to sniffle and shake, grabbing at the hem of the fox girl's long coat.
Say it louder so that everyone can hear you.
Delirious from sorrow, I screamed, my face awash with tears. My mouth was immediately filled with the metallic aftertaste of blood. The fox's black fingers kept pushing a chunk of human flesh deeper down my throat. I fell to my knees, coughing up blood, unable to vomit it out. Rotting carcasses of animals surrounded me once again.
Master, let me take a small bite of the barrel.
Boiling anger swallowed up my mind. Something foreign and primitive burst forth, pounced from inside me.
Let me see you try. I'll tear out your filthy tongue and shove it down your cloaca. You're a brainless chicken. Wow.
The ominous owl jumped away in surprise, accompanied by the fox's cackling. My voice went out and then I bent in half. Vomit poured out of my mouth, along with part of the treat that I wasn't able to regurgitate.
You're right, honey. His finger poked out at me. I felt like a knife was lodged handle deep into my solar plexus. It's your turn to treat us. Get us some meat until tomorrow night. Or else.
Elisa silently stepped into the shadows, and the goat put his foul-smelling morite into my face and roared.
Or else we'll eat your entire family.
He knocked his hoof against the floor and I ran for my life, forgetting about everything else. I heard him scream at my back, "We'll eat you alive."
What about
Shards of ice fell on my shoulders, dead rodents frozen
What about
inside
your
them.
sister?
I managed to break free, to the place where pines moved their branches and showered me with snow, like cooks sprinkling salt on porridge. The wind tore at my hair. I turned around and froze over. The garage was disappearing right in front of me, dissolving in layers, becoming dim and then transparent, before a gust of wind finally swept away the phantom of black walls. Only then I realized that I let go of my sister a long time ago and she was left behind in the monster's den. There was only a giant snow pile left in place of the castle. A girl's wrist poked out of it, like a cross would poke out of a burial mound. Terrified, I rushed over to the snow pile and started digging. Olya's pale face, along with one of her shoulders, appeared from under the white mass. Her bluish lips trembled. She's alive.
Hang in there!
My throat went dry when I remembered that I shouted these same words to Katya before. I continued digging and prayed for her to hang on. At some point, I was able to see her stomach.
I bet.
Her voice was faint.
It's okay. I'll carry you home and we'll get you a warm, drinking hot chocolate. Just stay awake from me, you hear? Just...
My fingers came across something sticky and hot. I cleared out more snow. It turned red and mushy. I gulped.
Why don't you say anything?
How could I tell her?
Oh!
Olya's body didn't exist below the stomach. Rings of guts fell out of the wound. Olya tilted her head and stared at the horrifying scraps. Then let out a deafening scream. Thank you for completing EP4. We are deeply grateful for everyone who purchased the...
Wow.
Save 3, June 14. Save...
All I can say is wow.
Save... Previous file page.
I have a lot of saves.
3, June 14, 140.
A lot
Previous
of
file
saves.
page.
A lot
Next file page.
A lot of saves. So, hold on.
Are you sure you want to overwrite?
Yes,
Save
so before...
3, June 14.
No!
Save
No!
slot 4.
That's not what I wanted!
Previous file. 3, June. Delete slot delete. Are you sure you want to delete? Delete 3. Save 3. Save slot 3. Are you sure you want to
No.
3.
Jesus.
Load 3.
Hold on.
Load.
I'm being
3.
retarded.
Load slot 3. Loading will lose unsaved. Load slot 3.
Yes, I was being retarded.
Accept.
I'm sorry. So hold on.
Rep-
I gotta refuse this. Let me skip real quick. Okay, there we go.
Accept.
Now I accept at here.
I fished out the most tasty looking candy from the pile of sweets on the floor.
Interesting, and it still does this
Then
because
took
he
a
gets
bite.
it on the floor.
Milk
You
chocolate
see how it
melted in my
said
mouth.
that he took it from the
С
floor.
выбором вас поздравляю.
I applaud your bold decision. Now it's time to play. And now it's gonna be the same exact thing. She will eat.
My sister.
The tree will come up. So this goes to the exact same thing, and there's gonna be nothing different, I'm assuming. The games, the kids. Okay, so this, then, and this will lead to here. Okay, so then
Exit.
that.
Are you sure you?
Yes,
are,
I'm sure. Yeah. So that was Tiny Bunny. The next ending, I guess, whatever the fuck that was. I can't believe if you choose Ronka, all that happens. Shut up.
Self-voicing
all that
disabled.
happens and like Katya and everything. That's just insane. I have to go back now and try to save her again. But that'll be in the next episode with the other 3 things I have to do. So I hope you guys liked this video. As always, go subscribe to my That Ramblin' channel. The Phobia, we got episode 3 coming out very soon. So look forward to that. It's gonna be great. And I hope you guys love Tiny Bunny. I love this game. Oh my god, it's insane. I got some more to do, so I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. And goodbye!